Hey, Jay Nelson here, welcoming you to another Friday Fit Tip. Let's go for it. Today, I just want to touch on what a couple of my clients have been talking about with regards to intermittent fasting and when you should be eating and why you should be doing this and what works. So, intermittent fasting, or similar to like time restricted feeding, but we talk about intermittent fasting for now. Most people stop eating at like 7, 8 at night and then don't have their first meal till around about 11 or 12 the following day. All right, that would be considered intermittent fasting. Now, somebody asked me, now, should I do this to lose weight? Hello. If you are a breakfast person, then this is not going to work for you. All right, one of the things that you got to consider when trying, sorry, I just lost focus. Stay with me. Awesome. When trying to figure out a diet strategy or meal plan strategy is to figure out what works for you. So if you wake up in the morning and you are hungry, it doesn't make sense you wait till 11 or 12 o'clock to eat. All right, you are going to be like a crazy person and might just walk outside and choke somebody in the parking lot. All right, you're going to be so angry, so aggravated, because people who get hungry in the morning have what is called a higher CAR. That's a cortisol awakening response. Now, the cortisol awakening response peaks, happens like about 30 to 45 minutes after waking up. A lot of us don't know about this, but cortisol is really important for us to go through the day. Okay, so we hear cortisol as being bad for belly fat and messes up your hormones and all this stuff. But if we didn't have cortisol from an evolutionary standpoint, when we wake in the morning, we would not go out and search for food, because remember, cortisol is driven down by insulin. So when you eat, you spike insulin, so cortisol goes down. So that's why in the morning, the cortisol awakening response boosts cortisol levels by 38 to 75%. After, again, repeat, 30 minutes awakening, 30 to 45 minutes awakening, that is more like the HP axis does this to prepare us for stress for the day. Okay, and stress for the day here is going to work and getting to work on time and getting the subway and the trains running and all that stuff. Stress back then, 10, 20,000 years ago, how far it was, 3,000 years ago, we had to get food. We didn't have to go to work or drive a car. So stress back then would be hunger. Hunger is stressful. All right, that's why intermittent fasting produces all these positive effects, because it increases the growth hormone secretion, IGF-1, which makes us leaner, lose fat, the body. It's all from an evolutionary standpoint. So I know it's all over the place right now. Let's just dive back in to fat loss. How is this going to work for you? So if you are a breakfast person, intermittent fasting won't work. What we were taught about eating small frequent meals a day doesn't quite work for fat loss in most people who are overweight. So every time you eat, the body releases insulin, right? Every type of food has an insulinogenic response. Zero insulinogenic response would come from lard. You eat lard and nothing happens like this. So think about eating multiple meals a day, and every time you eat, you release insulin. Now remember, insulin is not released all at once. Insulin is released in pulses. So you get that up and down. So let's say you ate at 7, and then you ate at 11, then you ate at 3, then you ate at 7, then you ate again at night. You are doing this to your insulin. The minute insulin spikes, you don't lose fat. So hence, that's why intermittent fasting works, to drop weight fast if you are not a breakfast person. Now for me, I wake up in the morning, my body wakes up, I'm hungry, my cortisol awakening response is fast, right? So for those individuals who wake hungry, that's your CAR is working the way it should work, or it's working like that for your body, then you do not intermittent fast, because you're, from an evolutionary standpoint, you are that person that woke up in the morning to get stuff going. For those of you that get hungry later on in the day, your cortisol is peaking at night. All right, so we're peaking more in the morning, you're peaking more at night, and cortisol at night would sometimes lead to sleeplessness. So think about that for a second. You kind of change the way you were wired to work. So how does this work for both sided people? One, those who do the intermittent fasting, great. Your body actually burns triglycerides up until that period, up until you eat. And then you go on with your day. The thing with that is you probably should have a little bit of carbohydrate at night to start dropping down your cortisol and increasing serotonin release. To increase serotonin goes up, melatonin goes up, you could go to sleep. All right, for us regular folk who have to eat breakfast, here's my suggestion. I always start eating, my breakfast is always a very low carbohydrate breakfast. Now, if somebody wants to go to a carbohydrate breakfast, it's fine, but I gotta eat multiple times a day. So what I do to minimize my insulin release and to minimize body fat storage, I would go protein, fat, carbohydrates, and protein, or carbohydrates only. Protein, fat, carbohydrates. So what I do, I alternate my fats and my carbs, So what that does is that even if you get a little spike with your carbohydrates and it starts tapering down, the next time you eat, although insulin is still gonna be increased when you eat proteins and fats, it's a very small spike. So I'm going from a low spike to a high spike first carbohydrate meal, back down to the next protein and fat meal, it gets low, back up here, and that's it. So now I am able to control my spikes in insulin, and I can plan it around my day. If I'm training my clients, if I'm doing my workout, post-workout, if I'm going to bed, make sure that my protein and my fats are high and my carbs are low. So just a different way of thinking to keep lean for a longer period of time. Always remember, for those of you intermittent fast, every time you break your fast, your muscles are a little bit insulin resistant. So now, do not think that insulin resistance is a bad thing. This is more like a transient insulin resistance, which means that it is going to go away. So when you break your fast, what you break your fast with really matters. So you don't break your fast like a high carbohydrate meal. You break your fast with some proteins and some fats, something that's low glycemic, high in proteins, high in fat. All right, so I hope that kind of gives you a little light. I didn't go into all the special details. If you want me to, we could break it down piece by piece and get a little more into the science. I could also pull some papers up and slap it on the screen so you could know, you could see some proof and some evidence into what I'm saying. Because right now you're just taking my word for it. You could leave your request and we could put this up here. Also, if you like the content you're getting, like the videos, please hit the like button. If you're not hitting the like button, then I wouldn't find you in the inbox. All right, so this is Jay Nelson here. Have a great weekend. It's gonna be sunny. Talk to you soon. Bye.